Alright, you guys, it feels like forever since I've been able to sit down and chat with you. Life has been chaotic these last couple of weeks. I have a few videos that I have recorded that I have just had no time to edit. I'm hoping I will be able to edit this one and get it up for you guys. Life has just been crazy. Ever since I posted that update, I had every intention of getting back on YouTube and posting a video every single week, but life has just been very busy lately, and I ended up taking over some extra responsibilities at our co-op. You guys might hear the kids in the background. One of the main preschool teacher for my son's classroom had a family emergency, and so she hasn't been there, and so I offered to take over like lesson planning for that class, and that was not something that I was prepared to do. And then from there it just kind of took on life of its own. And then, you know, like just being in a new area, we're trying to go out a little bit more than what we would normally go out during the homeschool year, just so we can start building friendships and community. The kids really, really miss our old area, and if I'm being completely honest, so do I. We all miss our friends and just the rhythms and routines and the places that we had that we liked to go and all of the things that we enjoyed. So it's been a little bit of a transition. Today I am going to share some of the wonderful books that we have been reading ever since we started up our homeschool year. Again, I do believe I'm missing a few books, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what they were or I just can't find them. So that's neither here nor there. So with being in a new area, I've mentioned a few times already that the kids really wanted to start their own book club. One of our friends in our previous area was going off of this Wild and Free book club book. This is so fun, and so they really enjoyed it. And when we were sitting down thinking of, okay, like what groups do we want to be a part of? What do we want to invest our time into? You know, find good friendships and community, the kids decided that they wanted to start a book club. So we're going off of this. And for those of you who may not have seen the videos that I have done on this so far, it's really fun. So like they give you book suggestions, and then once you go into it, it gives you different ideas of places to gather. It gives you discussion questions to go over the book. It will also give you some craft ideas, and then the shopping list of what you'll need. It gives you some food ideas so you can have like a little mini potluck, and so it's really, really fun, and it gives you a way to make the book club memorable. And so since we started this year, we have read, I feel like there was another book that we read, but we read Treasure Island, we read Around the World in 80 Days, and I will have these all linked below. And we also read The Swiss Family Robinson. And out of all three of these books, we enjoyed all of them. I think for Around the World, dare I say, I think we enjoyed the movie more, probably because we watched the movie a few times over the years before we read the book, and so sometimes I feel like that tends to mess with whether you like the book more or the movie more. But we really enjoyed that one. We enjoyed Treasure Island, but not as much as I thought we would. I really thought we were just gonna enjoy it. We really enjoyed the book club meeting for this. I got all of the kids these little wooden treasure boxes to paint at Michael's, and then we filled them with some of the chocolate coins, and then we got fun like pirate themed food. Like somebody brought Pirates Booty popcorn, and then I had a mixed fruit bowl with a little pirate cells and things like that. It was really cute and really fun, and the kids really enjoyed the book club meeting for that. But the book itself, it was really good, but I feel like my 8-year-old just needed to be a little older to really have it grasp her attention. And I feel like reading it was just a little bit more challenging because it's not just what I'm going to call like old English speak. It's kind of like old English piratey speak, and it was just challenging at times. And then we tried listening to the audiobooks, but the audiobooks just weren't that great for this one. Our favorite book club book so far, though, was The Swiss Family Robinson. This is one of the retellings of it instead of the authentic version, just because this is what our library had on hand, so this is what I grabbed. But it was so good. If you have not read this book yet, I 100% recommend it. My son said that this is his favorite book now, and it was just such a great story that we all really enjoyed. All right, now the next one, and this one has been our absolute like top-notch favorite book of the homeschool year so far. And if you guys have been around here a little bit, it should not be a surprise to you because I'm always talking about Lamplighter Ministries. So it is A Faith That Is My Own. This is a Lamplighter Ministries book. For those of you who are new here, I have absolutely fallen in love with Lamplighter books. I think that they are wonderful, and I will not shut up about them on this channel because I think that every household should own some of these books. These are not just good quality stories for your children. These are wonderful, wonderful stories to read with your children as a family. And if you are not reading these stories with your children and they're reading them on their own, that is wonderful, but I feel like you are truly missing out if you are not doing these as family read-alouds. These are such rich, wholesome, good quality stories that will direct your children to the path of Christ. And I absolutely love these books. Each one of their books focuses on a different character trait, a moral dilemma, and it walks your children through, the character's life and how they handle that and how they are guided to God along the way. And you guys, like, these are just the very best books that I have ever read in my entire life. And each time I pick one up, I'm thinking, like, for whatever reason, I'm like, this isn't going to be as good as the last one that we read. And then it just blows me out of the water, and I'm like, oh, that was so good. So A Faith That Is My Own is a story about a girl named Olive. And in the beginning of her book, her mother comes from India to visit the children because they're living separately. And she takes them away for the summer to a summer house. And while they are there, they are faced with a house fire that devastates them, but they see God working through the situation. And then at one point, her brother goes missing overnight, and they're afraid that he might have drowned. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, okay, don't hate me. Fast forward like 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. But he doesn't drown. But after this, their mother is very focused on, I want to know that you have come to your saving faith and that you have accepted Christ as your Savior before, we depart from each other at the end of the summer, because if something were to ever happen to you, I want to know that you're going to heaven. I want to know that you have that relationship with God. I want to know that we'll see each other again when, we get to the other side, basically. And over the course of the summer, they both come to their faith. And they have multiple children as well. But the story is more focused on Olive and then a little bit on her brother. And so at the end of the summer, when Olive and her brother are about to leave and go off to school, her mother gives her a little sign that says, "What would Jesus do?" And she kind of prepares Olive a little bit with how things will be when she's at this new school. And it's so sweet to watch her story as she goes from believing in God but not necessarily having her own faith to accepting Jesus, and then all of the trials and tribulations that she goes to when she gets to this new school. And not all of the girls are being raised like her. Not all of them know Jesus. Not all of them have been guided by their parents in the same way that she has. And so there are times where she wants to be selfish and times where the girls are very rude to her, and she takes a look at this sign and she asks herself, what would Jesus do? And it's so beautiful to see how she handles that and how she just wants to live for the Lord and have her steps be directed along his. And it's such a good story, you guys. It is such a good story. I still think that my absolute top two favorite Lamplighter books are The Wonderful Door and Tip Lewis. But dare I say, I think this might be the third, because these books aren't just teaching our kids to walk in the righteous path and all of the good quality traits that they should have, but they are teaching us moms as well. And they're such good stories. I seriously want to start a book club for moms that just read these books, because I feel like that would be such an enriching book club to be a part of. So I'll have this link down below. If you are new to Lamplighter, don't get sticker shock, okay? The books are a little bit more expensive, but 100%, you guys, like, I am so frugal and cheap, and I will price compare on like 15 different sites before I buy anything. But when I tell you, and I promise you from like the very bottom of my heart, that these books are worth every single penny you pay, they are 100% worth every single penny you pay. They are so good. One of the things that I also love about their website, and like for those of you who are like, I really want to shop there, if you find a book like, you know, A Faith That Is My Own, and you want to buy it, you can type in damaged and then the title, and then you can see if they have that on their damaged list, and sometimes you can get it for significantly cheaper. And some of the ones that I have received don't even appear to be damaged. Sometimes like the front will be printed just upside down, or sometimes like it won't be, you know, as like filled in with the color. But I have not received anything that I would, you know, possibly return because it's just too damaged. It's usually like a printing error. It's not bad at all. I have 2 more books, but they are more mom books and not necessarily kids books. The first one I listened to on audio, so I'll try to put a picture here if I remember. But, and this is not to get political, okay? Don't anybody come at me. But it was the Hillbilly Elegy. It is from J.D. Vance. It was written basically about his life and what, you know, he went through growing up, all of his family experiences. And I thought that was such a good book. I will put the preface that there is quite a lot of cursing. And so if you just don't do well with that type of thing, then just skip over it. Or I wonder if you could do that like Angel Media, but like it takes out the curse words for books. I know you can do that for movies. It's probably named something else, but I can't think of what it is. So anyway, there is a lot of cursing, but I think his story is fascinating because to see where he came from and to see that, you know, he did not come from this rich family that had a lot of class and status. He came from this family that was in poverty, and a mother who had addictions, and a grandmother who was raising him on food stamps, and like just this hard life that a lot of people would use as an excuse to not better themselves. And they would act like, you know, oh, the world owes me something, or I can't do this because this is the lot that I was given. To watch everything that he's gone through in his life and to see him be the vice presidential nominee, like, I just think that that is so awe-inspiring that you can literally become anything you want in this world. You just have to have some really good work ethic and a can-do attitude. I think I enjoyed that so much just because it reminded me a lot of my own childhood and just how God has worked throughout my entire life to bring me to where I'm at. And just, I think it's just such a wonderful reminder of like, just because you start in one place doesn't mean you have to end there. You just have to be willing to change your circumstances. And I think his story is just so wonderful, no matter what side of the table you fall on, okay? This video, this recommendation is not meant to cause any kind of division, okay? So some of you might be like getting a little like keyboard itchy. Okay, we're not doing that. I'm just saying it's a great story. If you want to be inspired by, you know, somebody's life, I think that that was a wonderful story. But there is a lot of cursing, so just be forewarned. All right, so the last book that I have for you guys is a book that I previously shared, I think about a year ago. It's taken me far too long to get to this book, but I was inspired to read it because a girl at our co-op was talking to me, my husband, one day about how her family fosters and how she's just been able to see God work in all of these amazing ways through them being foster parents. And she has even adopted a few children through the foster care system when their families just weren't reunited. And it kind of inspired me to go and read this book because there are times where me and my husband talk about, you know, growing our family more. But then I just think of how hard it is on my body, you know, and we start sharing our concerns and our fears and our excitements and, you know, what we want our family to look like and what God is calling us to. And so just that conversation with that girl really just made me start thinking about adoption, and not adopting through foster care, because I think if you're going to want to become foster parents, I believe that you should go into it with the idea of, I'm going to be a soft place for kids to land, and a safe place for kids to land while their parents are working on whatever it is that they need to work on so their families can be reunited. But I love watching Angela Braniff, and if you guys know who she is a really big YouTuber. She is so hilarious. I love her humor. I believe it is a lot like my own. I love her dry, sarcastic, witty comments. She's hilarious. But she has done quite a few adoptions, and she has done, I believe, every type of adoption you can do, with the exception of adopting through foster care. She's done embryo adoption, she's done international adoption, domestic adoption, and I might even be leaving one out. But I read her Love Without Borders book, and even if you're not looking to adopt, I think this was such a wonderful story of, it basically goes over their adoption stories and how it got started, how God worked through all of the trials and the things that felt too big for them in the moments. There was one story where she was adopting one of her boys, and well, she wasn't adopting them yet, but she had received a picture of this little baby that had just been born, and the caseworker had contacted her and was like, do you want me to show the family your portfolio? And she went to her husband, and he was like, yeah, but we don't have like our money saved up for it yet, so I don't know how we would pay for it. And she went back to her office, and she was like, she just kept thinking about this baby, and she felt like God whispered to her, you know, like, would I bring you a baby and not bring you money to pay for all of the adoption expenses? And so she went back to her husband, and he was like, okay, let's just do it. So she told the caseworker, yes, show our portfolio, let's get it out there. And then over the weekend, she went into overdrive just thinking of all of the different ways that they can pay for this adoption. And God worked in such wonderful big ways. So they had an adoption account where I guess it's kind of like a GoFundMe, but for adoption expenses. And so she was trying to do photo shoots and yard sales and all of the things. And within 3 days' time, she had so many people donate to this adoption fund that it more than covered the adoption. And then they ended up getting chosen as the family to adopt this sweet baby. And I love stories like that. So even if you're not interested in adopting, but you just want to hear like some feel-good stories, I think that this is a wonderful book. I love that she also makes it very clear that adoption is born through loss, and that while your family is gaining something beautiful, that another family is losing something beautiful, and you know, all of the trauma that goes into it. It was really interesting to read, and it was just a really great, you know, I finished it within like a few days. So it was so good, you guys. It was hard to put down. So if you are looking for any good books to read, make sure that you check those out. I'll have those linked down below. What books have you been reading that you have enjoyed this year? I would love to get some more to add to our pile. I do have one book that I want to show you guys. We have not started it yet, but it sounded fun. We're going to be starting it this month. It's The Pumpkin War. I might have shared this before, but because we've had this for about a year, and we just have not read it. We never ended up getting to it. So it says, each summer, 12-year-old Billy grows a 1,000-pound pumpkin to hollow out and race across the bay in the annual Madeline Island Pumpkin Race. The winner gets fame, fortune, and free ice cream. Last year, just as Billy was about to blast across the finish line, her best friend Sam cheated her out of her win. This summer, Billy wants revenge. Even though Sam tries to make amends, as far as Billy is concerned, their friendship is as dead as the driftwood they used to pile up for bonfires down by the lake. When a surprise visitor arrives, Billy begins to see her family and Sam in a new light. Amid tending bees, beating back aphids, and sharing llamas, Billy will finally get her chance to even the scales. Will they balance the way she's expecting? So it sounded cute and like, you know, pumpkin themed, November, pie. There's no pie in the book. I'm just thinking of pumpkin pie. But I thought that this would be a fun book to read with the kids this month as our monthly read aloud. We also are supposed to be reading The Family Under the Bridge. I have had that book for I don't even know how long. At some point I misplaced it, I think during the move, but we're reading that as our next book club book. So if you guys have any craft ideas for that book, please link them down below, because that is not in my handy dandy wild and free book club book. I just wanted to read it and it seemed like a good a good time to do so. So that is it. I would love to hear what you guys are reading. If I don't post, it's not for lack of trying. I'm trying very hard to be more diligent with our time, but like I said, we've just been so busy. I think the Lord is just seeing us through a very busy season, and as much as I love being here on YouTube and talking to you all, I love talking to you all. I love when you guys leave comments. I think right now it just might be a little bit of a struggle to be consistent. So I am truly aiming to be. I might need a little grace until this passes, because this too shall pass. So that is it. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, and I will see you again later. Bye.